Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to take a look at some easy ways to get started with your home automation, your home security, and making your home smarter. When it comes to home automation or home security, or generally making your home a little bit smarter, there's 2 or 3 things that you need to know and some concepts that I want to go through today. The first thing is essentially a hub. A hub essentially looks like one of these. This one here is an Insteon hub. They're usually small little boxes, plug in. Sometimes they have an Ethernet jack, sometimes they work wireless. The concept or the idea of a hub is essentially to act as the brain for your system, or to act as the central point that all the devices and all the pieces of technology you're going to put in your house are going to talk to. So there's a lot of companies that make this one. This one is Insteon. Smartthings makes one. Wink makes one. There's OpenHab, which is one I tend to use a lot. This is a free one you install on your own computer or your own Raspberry Pi. There's also online ones, so If This Then That or Stringify. And essentially what these are is your devices have to talk directly to the cloud, and then the cloud will respond with the logic. But think of them as the brains, think of them as the logic or the rule set. This is the place where you're typically going to go in and say, if something happens with one device, then do something with another device. So when people talk hubs, this is what you're thinking about. Now, a lot of times when it comes to getting started with home automation, it's really difficult to know what to start with because there's so many things you can go out and buy. So many different protocols, so many different ways to do it. This is one of the first things that I ever got. This one or this one. And essentially what these are is plug-in units. So the idea behind this is pretty simple. You've got yourself a little device here that you just plug into a plug. On the front, it has a pass-through plug, so you can plug something else into it. Works just like normal. But added on the bottom, you actually have a controlled plug. This is where it gets interesting because you can plug a lamp or something into it. I think my very first project ever was a Christmas tree. So essentially I plugged this in behind a couch, plugged the Christmas tree in the bottom, and then I had a little remote control from across the room that I could turn the Christmas tree on. This has changed over the years. I still tend to use these little plug-in modules, but I have them all built into my home automation so that they turn on and off pretty much automatically now. But this is the beauty with it, is you can start off really, really simple, and as it grows or as you have interest in it, you can start to expand it and you can add more and more to it over the years. This one here is an Insteon one. From a company called Smart Home. It's a pretty proprietary protocol, but it works pretty well. It's based on X10, which is something that's been around for years and years and years. This one here is a Wi-Fi, but not a Wi-Fi. Yes, this is Wi-Fi Belkin. Same idea. You plug it in, plug your device in, and then from your smartphone or whatever, you can install an app, put this on your Wi-Fi network, and control your lamp. Like I said, probably one of the best and most convenient ways to get started. And it gives you the functionality that for little things like controlling lights and things like that. The next thing on my list, or the next simplest way, and possibly even the first simplest, is this. And this is a Wi-Fi controllable light bulb. This one here is just a white one, an LED. This is using the Zigbee protocol, and it works with any hub, but it was specifically made by Wink and for the Wink hub. Really inexpensive bulb. They're nice ones because they actually kind of look like a real light bulb. Nice thing I like about these is they can work just like a regular light bulb. So if you want to put it somewhere and not even use it controllable, or maybe sometimes controllable, it's good to go. The only problem with this is that if someone actually cuts the power to it, so you turn the light switch off or you turn the little knob off on the lamp, the light bulb is no longer controllable. So you're going to want to think about that, where you use it and the intended use for it. But again, nice thing about it is you can experiment with it, move it around your house, try it in different lamps and see where it works. One step up on this one is this one here. This is a LIFX or LIFX light bulb, LIFX. The reason I like this one is because it has color as well as white in it. So what I'll typically do is use this around the house in places where most of the time it's probably going to be white, but every once in a while I'll change it to a color. Typically think the holidays again, so Christmas, even on St. Patrick's Day it turns green, Valentine's Day it turns red, and these are just things I have programmed in to happen automatically. I even use this, some of these to flash when the Blue Jays or the Maple Leafs win or get a goal. It flashes blue just to indicate something's going on, so kind of fun way to have it going around the house every once in a while. You just see it flashing and it reminds you there's a game going on, you can check it out. Again, the only downfall with this is if you do put it in a light switch or you put it somewhere where people are going to be turning the power on and off, once the power goes out, it's off. So keep that in mind. Now, once you get these things up and going, the next thing that you're going to want to look at for home automation is probably something like this. And this one here is a motion sensor. This is a really basic one, runs on battery. The idea is you just sit it on a table somewhere, and whenever somebody walks by it, it sends a signal over saying that there's been some motion. Maybe you turn on a light bulb or something like that. These can also be programmed to send a signal after a set period of time to say there's been no more motion, so turn it off. So say you want to have a lamp that turns on when you walk by, and if nobody makes any motion within 5 minutes, turn it off. It's probably the simplest way to end up doing something, but it's a really easy way to do it. These are nice too because you can move them around the house. This one can plug in and work off USB or run off battery. Very simple one. Not my favorite though. Probably my favorite when it comes to motion sensors is the one that's right up here. That is a AEON Tech 5-in-1 motion sensor, and the reason I like it, it's a Zwave based motion sensor. It has a bunch of sensors baked into it, so you've got a temperature sensor, a light level sensor, the motion sensor. I believe it has 1, 2, 3, 4 UV sensor, I think, and a tamper sensor, so if someone moved it. So it's got a couple different sensors in it, which makes it really nice, so you can do a little bit more advanced things. You can say something like, if you see motion in a room and the room is dark, then turn on the light. But if it's bright enough, don't bother. So it's got some cool things there, and then the added bonus of having the temperature, and they happen to be waterproof, so they're really nice sensors. A little bit more expensive, but they make a good addition to your system. Like I said, there's Z-Wave. They can run on battery, or they can be plugged in off a USB adapter. So really nice ones. I use that in here to control the lights. So this next one is one that I'm actually really excited about. This is an open-close sensor. It runs on Z-Wave protocol, but the reason I'm excited about it, it was sent to me by a company called Banggood, Banggood.com. They reached out to me when they saw some of my videos, and they wanted to send me some products to test out. This is one of the first ones they sent me, and this one here is a Z-Wave sensor. I'm really excited about them because their price point is very attractive. The reason this is exciting is one of the problems with home automation is the cost involved. A lot of the sensors that I've shown you already are typically in the $50, $60 range. These ones are definitely much less, and I think if they work as well as advertised, which I'm going to show you in another video, we'll do a little review on them, then they're definitely a really good thing to look at because it allows you to put them on more doors and more things around your house. You're not making a decision of what to monitor or not, because at a lower price point you can pretty much put them anywhere you want to. Now the other one that they sent me, which I'm excited about, is a water sensor or a leak sensor. I've looked for these before, but the problem with them is, again, the price point. In order to get them and to put them where all the places I'd want to put them to detect water leaks, it just didn't make sense from a cost perspective. These ones here are much less. I'm going to give this one a try. Essentially what this is a Z-Wave receiver. So you take this little piece here and you mount it. And then you take this little piece here and it's got a little wire on it. You run it over to where the water was going to leak. So think, mount that on a wall, put that underneath a toilet valve, or under, I'm going to put one by my furnace, or under a dishwasher, places like that around your house. And if there's ever any water leaking, this is going to detect it. It's going to send a signal back to your hub or to the cloud and tell you that there's a water leak, so that you can do something about it. And if you're really interested, you can take that to the next step with a water shutoff valve. And you can get Z-Wave water shutoff valves that essentially you put on your house, and they'll turn the water off to the whole house. So if you're somebody who has a vacation home, or you're traveling a lot and you're a little bit worried about that, you've heard the horror stories with the toilet that breaks and leaks and floods a house, this is a really simple way to either detect it and watch for it, or even react and turn off the water when it comes. So again, this is a really interesting product. It's from Banggood.com. Check them out. They're not a sponsor, but they were nice enough to send me some products here to test. They thought that they'd be really good for our videos, so we're going to take a closer look at this one as well. Now, the next thing I'll show you is this. This is a Plum dimmer switch. This is a Wi-Fi enabled dimmer. It's a little bit more complicated because you are going to get into the electrical side of things and you need to wire this into your house. You have these both for switches, and you can find this type of switch for plugs as well. So very similar to these. I tend to stick to these ones more, except for very specific places, and the nice thing is you can move them around, whereas if you put a plug right in the wall, you're kind of stuck with it where it is. So the dimmer, This one's a Wi-Fi, which I really like. And it's Plum. I have another video linked below that I've made specifically for these, so take a look at that. I think they're fantastic dimmers, but there are many other ones available. You can look for Zwave ones, you can look for Zigbee ones. A lot of your big box stores sell them. The nice thing with these are they work just like regular switches. So if you're looking to replace a dimmer switch, you want to add dimmer to a light you already have, and you're thinking of buying a dimmer or you're thinking of buying a time switch for outside, I'd recommend looking for ones that have connectivity with Z-Wave or Zigbee or Wi-Fi in them already. And that way, if in the future, if you're not ready to start with your home automation right now, you have that there in the future and you can connect them up to your hub when you finally get running with it. So they're about the same cost. You really just have to pay attention when you're buying them and make sure they have, they say that they're computer controllable or smartphone controllable, or they have a little Z-Wave or Zigbee or Wi-Fi symbol on the box, and typically will mean that they're controllable. So the next level, and this is really taking it up a step, is something like this. This is a Raspberry Pi. If you haven't heard of this before, this is basically a $35 miniature computer that runs Linux. Now, most people are going to shy away from these at first because it seems overly complicated, but honestly, if you can bake a cake and follow a recipe to do that, there's a ton of projects online you can do with this as well. The nice thing about these is they come with a bunch of pins on them, and it allows you to hook things up like lights or temperature sensors. There's hundreds of different things with them, hundreds of different projects out there. You can even install OpenHAB on this. I have another video again linked below that you can I talk about that a little bit. You can run your entire home automation off this little $35 computer. This one here is just in a little 3D printed case, and you can see it snaps together like this, and you can just screw it against the wall or do whatever you want with this one. It even has HDMI out, so you can connect a monitor or a TV to it. Really handy little things for doing some projects. One more that I have to show you is this one right here. This is a particle photon, I believe it's called. Originally it was called the Spark Core, and essentially what this is a small little Arduino based development board. But the beauty behind this one is that when you get it, you use your smartphone and you connect it to your Wi-Fi network. So all of the connectivity is pretty much 100% automatic, and then you can program it from the web. So you don't need to have any type of special compilers or development, and you can pretty much go into this wherever you want. After that, it works a lot like an Arduino if you've ever worked with those. You can hook sensors up to it and wires and gadgets. This one here is a little project that I was working on. I have a little LED screen. I think this cost me about $9. And I have a little volume knob that's on here. And essentially all I'm planning to do with this one is control the volume of my Sonos remotely. So the plan is to plug this in. I'll probably hide that somewhere and just have this knob or this display screen. You don't even need the display screen. I was just doing that to display a volume. And this will talk to the cloud. And essentially when I turn this, that's going to send a signal out to the cloud, which is going to talk back to my hub, and it'll turn my Sonos down for me. So it's a really simple solution. I'm going to do some more videos soon with some more specific examples of this type of thing, but I just wanted to show you that when you get started in home automation, it can be super easy, like I said, simple plug-in module, or it can start to get more advanced where essentially you're putting together really custom solutions and products to help you run it. I also have one of these. I've built a garage door opener. That's another example of where I use this in my house. So that's it for today. If you liked this video, hit subscribe. If you really liked it, thumbs up would be great. If you didn't, leave me a comment. Let me know why, because I'm really hoping to provide some valuable insight back to you. I plan to start a series of videos up soon where I'm going to take 2-3 minutes each week, and I'm going to go through a really simple scenario of how to deal with individual tasks, whether it be the actual programming behind it, how to set up scenarios, how to set up reactions, things like that. So if there's something specific you're looking to see, let me know. The little bell below, if you click on that, you're going to get notified whenever I put videos. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.